Welcome to Seven Trumpets Prepper. Guys, for many of you, you probably at this point in time in life are feeling like, why am I depressed? Why do I feel so disconnected from society? Why do I not feel the way I used to? Well, the answer for that is very simple, and I'm going to break it down for you in this video because I had to come to this realization just recently. I was 39 years this day old, I guess people say, when I come to this realization. And shout out to whoever posted it the other day on Facebook. It had this sweet little girl, reminded me of my oldest daughter, playing in a field in front of a city setting in the background, and it said, "The world you grew up in no longer exists." And it was a real profound moment for me that just hit me and gave me a lot of clarity, because I guess I just want to go ahead and poise and say that this message ain't for everyone today. A lot of people won't receive it or get it, what I'm saying, unless you're like a late baby boomer, a Gen Xer, or a millennial, early on millennial. I'd even go as that far to say. You just really won't be able to resonate with what I'm saying, is because that world we grew up in no longer exists. There is a new precedent set, a new paradigm we're in, from AI to technology to the internet age to the mass hypnosis, in, I would even say, broad scale MK Ultra that is being put upon society. It is insanity to watch the world we live in, and not to mention, if you look at it from a spiritual perspective, is that those that receive not the love of the truth be sent strong delusion. It is really, really wild where we are at today in this world. And you know, I've said this for the longest time, ever since this channel's been started, that terrible times are coming. I mean, all across the world, there's strife and conflict, wars and rumors of wars, mass destruction, devastation from earthquakes and volcanoes and tsunamis. And I think it was in Myanmar the other day, for those that worship that false deity over there, so many of them temples was destroyed, and Most High ain't playing around. And honestly, just to be truthful, the hell with all the rest of these so-called deities and idols and things that people worship. There's only one creator, the sovereign Most High Most High Yahuwah. I want to make sure and say that all the way through, because I know people get on to me for saying short form, even though I think even David said it in Psalm 68 verse 4, I believe it is. But anyway, the Mad Max days are ahead of us. And I mean, I'm gonna tell you what, I have really come to the clarity of this even before I seen that that picture the other day, that it just seems to me, and I'll circle back to this too, but it just seems to me that ever since 2020, people have literally called amnesia. It's like somewhere between, you know, those that receive not the love of the truth be sent strong delusion, and then it's like people just were like, literally, it was like witchcraft went on in 2020, and like people just completely lost their minds. I mean, I still remember being treated terrible for not taking the jab and for not wearing a mask, and you know, for all that. I remember it as if it was yesterday. Matter of fact, it's like a core memory ingrained in my soul at this point. And we are fast approaching, you know, as I've said before, the movie INTIME, End Time, and Terminator, and Mad Max. I swear, you just put it in a blender, that's pretty much what a man is looking at already, even without it going full bore. And I mean, I took my little BMW i3 electric car, traded it in, got me something for whenever it has to be road warrior time, and continuing to mod it by the grace of y'all to be prepared for that day. Prepping, I don't think I've ever went as hardcore prepping as I have recently, between firearms and vehicles and land, and getting ready for the new land y'all willing to go to, because got a subdivision going in the backyard there, subdivision across that way now, more housing being built here. I'm like, city finally grew to me. It took 40 years from the time I was a little boy to now, but it finally grew to me, and so it's time to pick up and move again. And you know, we have a mass responsibility, those of us that were born during those eras, late World War II to just pre-2000, we seen a world that you wanted to buy something, you put a purchase order in the mail with a postage stamp, and you sent it in. We did business where you called the auto place and you went down and made an appointment and you got your tires changed. There was no Rapid Lube. There was no Walmart on every street corner. It was a different world. And I miss that world, because the world we live in now is just rapidly decaying and disconnected from reality. And love you, buddy. And sorry guys, got distracted there for a second. My son was coming by on the farm. And it's just rapidly changing. The whole element is changing. And school systems, government systems, religious systems have fundamentally in the past 70 years, from feminism to transhumanism to religious destruction of the mind, to where Marxism and atheism and just all these crazy toxic mentalities, liberalism, not to be confused with being a libertarian or a conservative person, but like hardcore liberalism, like just these things that are so destructive to the base of society and culture and humanity. And America to me is the most interesting one, is that during this time where all things are being revealed, it's so weird to live in this nation of all nations, because we're supposed to be a melting pot, but you see how cultures just for the life of them cannot get along. Racism as at epidemic levels, political divide, religious divide, spiritual divide. It's the greatest I've ever seen it. I mean, I hear stories of, way back when, and I think it was the Jim Crow era, and, of course, Civil War era, and all these things. But, I feel like right now, if the protective measures that really ain't protective, but just the ramifications and the people going to jail and being punished, they would go wild, because a man died on the subway the other day, and he was I guess I would say sodomized, and then he was robbed. And instead of somebody calling the police or an ambulance or anything, they just had their way with him. And that shows me the basis level of where we're at in society right now. Like, everything looks like it's together. It seems to act like it's together, but it's not together. I mean, we're holding things together with rubber bands, man. And we're holding things together with rubber bands instead of ratchet straps. Like, that's how far decayed in this country is. And it's interesting to me, as a traveled person, is that you go to Europe, an Italian is an Italian, a German is a German, a Greek is a Greek, an African, if he's from this part of Africa, people know it. If he's from that part of Africa, know it. If you're from Asia, people know it. If you're from a certain part of Russia, they know it. You come to America and people say, that's a black man. Well, he had ancestors from somewhere. That's a white dude. That's just a white dude. Well, yeah, okay, but was his ancestor Scottish? Like, we're just so debased here. Like America's such a weird animal anymore. It's such a weird animal. It's like everyone has forgotten their ancestry. Everyone has forgotten not only the sins of the past of this nation, but only forgotten just the it's like the history of mankind just started 5 years ago. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. It's like they said a great reset, and I'm going to tell you, I'm really starting to believe it was a great reset, not the kind that people would want, but it's definitely been a reset on a grand level. And all things are being revealed. And at the same time things are being revealed, you had the Katy Perry special the other day, where that we're going to space. Keep in mind, we're in a firmament dome. We're in an enclosed, geostationary, flat plane under a firmament dome, with waters above and waters below. 2 Ezra chapter 16, read that too. It's got some good stuff about flat earth in it too. But, you know, we're pushing this agenda so hard now, and it's amazing to me that people's buying it hook, line, and sinker. And I'll tell you what, if you believe that, I got you some oceanfront property here in East Tennessee that I can sell you to. And that, you know, it's wild that the U.S. government, as much as it's always overreached, speaking about America again, is if you all actually think we went to the moon, right, then tell me why we haven't went back, or we don't have bases there, because we have bases in everyone's backyard. But we don't have bases in the moon. If we actually went there, like, that would have been a top priority to me if I was the sovereign and commander-in-chief of the United States of America. But hey, what do I know? I'm just an electrician. But you know, we don't fit into this paradigm. If you're you know, a Gen Xer or a baby boomer or a early millennial, you don't fit in this paradigm, because this new world is being created around us. We're being obsoleted out of. I mean, you baby boomers, they tried to unalive you with the jabby, and I think that definitely accomplished the mission on most of that, and got a lot of Gen Xers and millennials with it too. But the young people, you know, there's all sorts of information coming out now about how that certain activities that people participate in 2019 through 2024 have severely damaged the hearts of little ones and stuff as well. So, I mean, they really worked it across the whole paradigm for everybody, across the whole group of humanity. And, you know, you have where that, this, I guess the final thoughts I'd say on this is that, you know, for those that have been depressed and disconnected and disjointed, and you cannot seem to wake up with happiness and peace hardly like you used to, it's because this whole construct, this whole matrix, this whole paradigm that's been put around us now, it is so far disconnected from what we knew when we were children, when we were young adults, that it has shifted so much. And incrementally, though, over time, the last mass push was just in these past 4 to 5 years. And so many people have been gaslighted that they think everything is okay, and it's not. And me and my friend Tony was talking the other day, and I love him like a brother. He was making a good point that every time we make adjustments and it seems like things settle, then everything's upheaved again, and you have to make adjustments yet again. And I'll be honest with you, I'm tired of adjusting. Like 4 years ago, electrical wire for a job cost half on pretty much what it is now, if not a little more than that. And I see it constantly when customers go off on me about, why does this cost this much? And you give receipts, and they're like, oh, wow. And it's like, yeah, it's been happening for a long time. You know, and now with the tariffs thing and everything else that's going on in the world, folks, it's going to be another adjustment again, you know, and it's going to continue to be a constant adjustment until the New World Order firmly takes its grip, and you see this New Age movement and this wicked AI movement and everything else that is taking grassroots right now. You're going to see some major shifts in the future, and it is shifting at rapid speed. And I've noticed that it seems to me that the younger generation seems to just kind of just be going along with the flow. They ain't happy about it, but they're just like, it's whatever at this point. But I'm noticing that the boomers, Gen Xers, and millennials were becoming more rugged and rigid and hard to deal with. I am finding this like very difficult spirit in me to deal with people anymore. I'm always kind, always courteous, always malleable until I can't be. And I've ran into this in workplace lately, in business. I've ran into this with the police. I've ran into this with friends and family, and I just keep finding my circle getting smaller because I am becoming very rigid on where I am, who I am, and what I'm about. And the world is constantly asking you to bend the knee and to adjust and change anymore. And I'm not about that life. And I know there's consequences for that, for not adjusting. And it's one of those points where you're going to have to ask yourself, is it worth it? And to me, it's worth it. Because I just cannot adjust my spirit any further to what's going on. And I absolutely have no intention of doing anything that violates the Torah and the Scripture. And, you know, I think it's Malachi 3 and 6 that states, I'm Yahuwah, I change not. And I'm like, you know, I'm at that point too where I'm like, hey, this is who I am. I'm not going to change. And the last final thought I'd leave with you is, if you notice in your spirit that you constantly find yourself like, man, I'm not who I used to be. I'm changed. This is not who I am. It's not that you've changed. What happened was a situation presented itself that you've never faced before, and many of us haven't. My dad, he's about to be dead 1 year now, and I remember that me and Dad was talking about so many things and before he passed, and that it's just so wild that things that my son's dealing with, I'm dealing with, and my dad's dealt with, none of us had ever dealt with before. So 3 generations were dealing with a problem that they were trying to sort through right now at the same time. And what you've got to understand is if you were ever presented this in the past, you would have never went along with it then, or you would have already made adjustments prior. The problem is that the goalpost is continuing to be moved in front of us, and because that the goalpost is continuing to be moved, your modus operandi is having to be constantly adjusted as well. So it's not that you changed. Your character would have never went along with this. Your spirit would have never went along with this. But because that this is new information, new presented situation, you're having to act accordingly. And then people around you that would obviously cave or bend the knee is shocked that that's not who you are anymore. Well, baby, that's who you were always. The problem is you never had to deal with it until today. And so today, I'm just wanting to let you guys know that you're not alone out there. It's been a really, really changing time for me in life. And I can see and feel it in my spirit. Just within recent time, just recently, I turned in a notice where I've worked with for now 11 years. I helped them part-time, I helped them full-time, and now I've turned in my notice to walk away from that. I feel that it no longer serves me. I feel like I just serve it. And so therefore I turned in my notice. When it comes to living where I live, it's no longer safe in my spirit, so I put a for sale sign in the yard. I felt that I wasn't prepared to take care of my family and to bug out and go where we need to go, so swap vehicles. I'm doing anything I need to do to adjust, to be prepared for what is to come, and make adjustments now before things get really bad. And I encourage you to do the same thing, because there is a shift coming. There is a shift taking place right now. And if you're a Gen Xer, a baby boomer, a millennial, those of us that fall in those groups, you know that I am speaking the truth. You know what the past was like. Unless you have just been absolutely hit with strong delusion, you have been gaslighted to oblivion, and you have caught amnesia, then you know what the early years before 2000 was like. You know the 90s were good. You know the 80s were good. And especially those that were baby boomers, you've had the best times. And now they've come and went, buddy. So get prepared, folks. Hard times are ahead. And I'm going to tell you, the Mad Max future is coming. And if you don't get prepared for it, you're going to be in a really bad spot when the hammer drops soon. So guys, as always, till we see you again here at 7 Trumpets Prepper Channel, hope Most High Yah Baruch you and keep you, make his face shine upon you, show you favor, and give you shalom, my friends, in Yahushua and I.